सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ सहना भवतु, सहनौ भुनक्तु, सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै, तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। त्रैलोक्यनाथ हरिमीड्यमुदारसत्त्वं शक्तेस्तनूजतनयं परमेष्ठिकल्पं जीमूतमुक्तविमलाम्बरचारुवर्णं वासिष्ठमुग्रतपसं प्रणतोऽस्मि नित्यम्। We were looking at 72 was the last verse we saw. So the Guru is refuting the contention of the Sishya that this Tattvamasi, correct? In that, he raises a question, why should this Tattvamasi even be taught by the Upanishads? Okay, that is raised, I think, somewhere before here. Here in 68, you can see, Nanu Jiva Satoho Anumatramapi Swagatam na Visheshanam Asti Yada Vada Tattvamasi Tada Vachanam Kimu Vakti. So, sentences like Tattvamasi or Yeshata Atma Antaryami, etc. from Brihadaranyaka. Why these Vakyas are even required if already it is a fact that you are that Brahman? If it is a fact, why should it even be taught by the Upanishad? So here the argument is one of anarthakyam, we can say, or uselessness of this teaching. And Shruti cannot have any Vakya which is useless, because Shruti is a deliberate means of knowledge, we say, made up of words, and we say that it should have phalavat artha bodhakatvam. Phalavat artha bodhakatvam means what? Whatever it says, everything should have some purpose. It should reveal something which is useful to me always. It is not like your nose or even eyes and all that, correct? The nose can just reveal you any smell, whether you like it or not. The only thing is maybe you have to close your nose like this if you don't like the smell. It will keep on revealing to you, even useless things. So Shruti is not like that. So here the argument put is, if Tattvamasi is already an established fact, what is the point in teaching that? Now for this only, the Guru gives an interesting answer. He says that if the Veda is real, correct, then also teaching is useless. Because if the Veda is real, no teaching can make the reality into an unreality, correct? The words cannot just change the reality. Words are only revealing whatever is there. We say that any means of knowledge for that matter is revealing to you only whatever is there as it is, correct? That's what we call Vastu Tantram. All knowledge has to be Vastu Tantram. Means it has to reveal the object of cognition as it is. Just because you like apple, you cannot know orange as apple, correct? Orange has to be revealed by your eyes as orange only. It cannot become apple just because you don't like orange and you like only apple. It's not dependent on your free will. It has to be as it is. That's what we call Vastu Tantram. So, if the reality is that Brahman and Jiva are different, then no amount of Shruti Vakyas can do anything about it. So, he establishes finally what? Therefore, only if there is an erroneous cognition, then words can come or any means of knowledge can come and reveal to you the reality. Correct? You already have an erroneous notion about something. That error can be corrected by the pramana. So the teaching is actually useful, and it can be useful only in this situation. So that's what he says here in the 72, which was the last verse we saw. What is that? Vishayasya gunam vishayena saha atmani mudadhiya adhiropitam. Adhiropitam is same as adhyaropita only, superimposed. So the whole problem is that on myself, I superimpose the not self. Correct? Whatever is not self has been superimposed on the self along with its gunas, all the different qualities. In fact, the whole Brahma Sutra Bhashya, in the introduction, Bhashyakara starts with this only. Yushmad asmat pratyaya gocharayoho vishaya vishayinoho tamah prakashavat viruddha swabhavayoho. Like that, he starts that there are two categories in this entire Srishti, correct? In this creation, in this world. One is this, whatever is known as this, and whatever is I. And I and this are actually very, very different. Okay. I and this can never be equated. I is always I, this is always this. I is conscious, this is jada, correct? Insentient. The sentient only knows the insentient. They are opposed to each other like light and darkness. Still, logically speaking, there cannot be any superimposition, adhyasa, but still it is there. And the only reason it can be there is due to ignorance. Mithya jnana nimittaha. Bhashyakara talks about a nimitta for that, correct? Nimitta karana is there, which is mithya jnanam. This false ignorance, that alone is the cause for you to wrongly cognize one thing as another. So all knowledge can do is, it can remove ignorance. It cannot do anything else. It's like removing the darkness. The light can come and remove darkness in a room. If when it is dark, you don't see anything, even though things are there. The light does not produce anything new. Light simply removes the darkness, and whatever is there becomes evident. Similarly, with reference to yourself, you have wrong notions. You take yourself as the physical body and then superimpose all the qualities of the physical body on yourself, and then suffer. I am fat. I have diabetes. I have this disease, that disease. All these things are, I don't have a leg. I have become now a lame person. These are all problems, correct? The physical body's qualities you superimpose on yourself. And then you have to do makeup also. You don't like your own face, means it's a problem. Okay, Alankara is different. My Guruji used to say, Alankara means whatever is there, you bring it out in a more beautiful form. That is called Alam Karoti iti Alankaraha. The Alam means enough. So you bring it out in a manner that it is good enough. Whatever is there alone, you can bring it out. That's what Alankara should do. But makeup is different. Makeup word itself is a problem. Whatever is not there, you are trying to make up, I think. The English word makeup is different from Sanskrita word Alankara. Anyway, so you are trying to make up means you are trying to hide whatever is there and try to bring out whatever is not there. That's a problem because of taking the body as I. You take the prana as I and say, I am hungry, I am thirsty. All physiological problems become your problem. You take the mind as I and then all mental states you superimpose on yourself and suffer. Like this is all well known to us, correct? You take the Indriya as myself and then say, I am blind, I am deaf. All these problems are there. Again, the Indriya may work, may not work. It works for so many years, then the powers of your sense organs are only going to go down, correct? That's why there is a popular view that you have to study Vedanta after taking retirement. After taking retirement, your sense organs also are retiring, correct? There is no point. How are you going to sit in a class and study Vedanta? You can retire to a Gurukulam and study. Not you retire after 60 years or something, and by that time your physical body also is not cooperating. Sense organs are not cooperating. In fact, Swami Paramarthananda used to joke. He used to say that if I say you are immortal, you will hear it as you are immoral, correct? One T is gone there means the whole meaning is gone. I am teaching you, you are immortal. You are hearing I am immoral. Then what will happen? It's not going to work. Anyway, so while your indriyas are proper only, one has to expose oneself to this teaching. Otherwise also it's a problem. Anyway, so here the idea is what? Only if the problem is one of ignorance, the solution can be one of knowledge. In fact, knowledge alone can be a solution. If the problem is one of ignorance, karma cannot be a solution. No amount of karma will give knowledge. Understand that. And will not solve the ignorance also. The ignorant person keeps on doing more work, more activities, accumulating more results of action. It's not going to change anything, correct? You are fundamentally the same person. Your vision about yourself, if it does not change, it doesn't matter whatever you accomplish. Even if you become Indra, Chandra, you are still a Jiva. You are an exalted Jiva, that's all. Correct? So if the problem is one of ignorance, then the solution can be one of knowledge, and then the Shruti Vakya becomes meaningful. Correct? Tattvamasi can be a teaching then. So that's what he has pointed out already. If it is adhiropitam, means if you have superimposed wrongly the anatma onto atma and anatma guna also onto oneself, then it can be negated by tattvamasi and it becomes meaningful. Like even you can negate, see somebody thinks the water has taste. So according to our Srishti Prakriya, water has smell, Bhumi Guna. Bhumi Guna is smell, water has taste. Okay. Somebody says the water is smelly, means then you can point out, no, water itself is not smelly, but maybe it got mixed with some earth, whatever. Because Bhumi Guna alone is smell, and therefore we negate the Bhumi Guna in the water. Like that, Tattvamasi also negates your idea that Aham, this Aham, which has been associated with Anatma and Anatma Guna, all that it negates and the teaching becomes meaningful. So continuing what he says, in fact, he summarizes again, because originally 4 things were said by the Sishya, correct? What are those 4 things? He said for Tattvamasi itself, it can be interpreted in 4 different ways. Why should we interpret in the way you are teaching? Instead, we can say it is just a vidhi paravakya, means it is only giving a upasana vidhi. Why can't we take it as upasana? That is one view. Another is, why cannot it be simply a figurative speech, correct? Simho manavakaha, adityo yupaha, like this. Even in the Veda itself, there are figurative things are all there, correct? Yajamanaha prastaraha, like that. The Yajamana is stone, Aditya is the post, correct? Wooden post. Like this and all, there are statements in the Veda. Why cannot we take it as figurative? Correct? Or even Simho Manavakaha in the worldly Laukika also, we use figurative speech, correct? The student is a lion, means he is not really a lion. There is, maybe he has some hair like lion. In fact, I used to have a lot of hair. And people used to see, they used to say that I look like a lion. They even changed my name. From Jai Shankar, they used to call me Jai Simha because I had hair like that. But that's not true, correct? Really, I cannot be a lion. It's only some guna is matching based on that. That is called Gauna Prayoga, correct? One quality may be matching between two things. So you can say one thing is the other. Or you can say what? Praise. Okay, you go, somebody is giving you something, then you praise them. You are Indra, you are Chandra and all that, correct? When you receive a Dakshina, we always praise the one who has given that. So this is the third option. It can be Stuti Vakya. And the fourth option was Brahman has really become Jiva. Why cannot you say that? Why should you say that Jiva is Brahman? Brahman has now really become Jiva. Brahman was infinite Jagat Karanam. That poor Brahman now has become this useless Jiva suffering. So Brahman has really become Jiva. That is the reality. Why cannot it be like that? So like this, four options were given. Now in that, originally the Guru took the Upasana Vidhi point and he argued a lot. So again, that has been negated. Okay. So now he is also saying the others are also negated. So he again says this, Atayeva na drishti vidhana param gunavada param chana tadvachanam Tutivadyapi naitadupasyataya vidhiratra na deha bhritosti yataha. So ataha eva. Therefore, see, already we have established that it is not a upasana vakya. And we have also now proved that the Tattvamasi can be a useful teaching only if what I say is correct. That you have wrongly taken yourself as something else. So the Tattvamasi teaching now comes and corrects your wrong notions. And therefore, what? Therefore, ataha. Therefore only, ataha eva. This Tattvamasi is not a Drishti Vidhana Param, means what? It is not a Upasana Vakya. It is not mandating any Upasana that you have to do Upasana, Jiva is Brahman, like that. No. It is also not Gunavada Param. It is not saying that like Simho Manavakaha and all that. It's not figurative speech, because generally when something is meaningful in its primary meaning, we should not take other meanings, correct? Figurative sense is fine only if the primary meaning is meaningless or primary meaning doesn't work. Like if you really, student is lion means student can never be lion. Then we have to see any samya is there, any kind of some same qualities are there, and then we can say it is figurative, gauna. But if you say rose is red, means rose is having redness really, correct? When that Visheshana is really there in a Visheshya, you cannot say it is Gunavat and all that. When primary meaning is meaningful, it's not contradictory. We have to always go with the primary meaning. You cannot take any other type of meaning. So it is not Gunavada Param also. So Tad Vachanam. That Vachana means here what? Tattvamasi is the Vachana, Veda Vachana. The Vedic sentence Tattvamasi is not Drishti Vidhana Param, means it is not any visualization. Correct? Drishti here is you visualize or do upasana. So it's not mandating any upasana, nor is it a figurative speech. And it is also not stutivadi api na etad. Okay. So it is also not any praise. This praise and gunavada normally can be taken only if the main meaning does not work out. But here the direct meaning, the primary meaning works out. We have already shown that. Therefore, these two are not going to be considered. And for the Drishti Vidhana Param, again he is giving the reason. Why we cannot say it is Upasana Vidhi. It was already mentioned in lot of detail, but he is again reminding you because you are all attending class after a long time, which is not your fault. But anyway, so here also he is reminding what? Upasyataya vidhi atra na deha britaha asti yataha, because yataha is because what? Upasyataya vidhi atra na deha britaha asti, deha britaha vidhi na asti. With reference to the embodied self, there is no mandate, there is no vidhi. What vidhi? That you have to do this upasana in that form. Upasyataya, that Brahman is an upasya. You have to do upasana of that Brahman as this self. Like that, there is no vidhi. Vidhi ling is not there, correct? Normally, how does a vidhi come? Ling, lot, tavya, we say, correct? There has to be either a ling, there has to be a verb. If you have studied Sanskritam, there are different verbal forms, correct? Even in English, if you want somebody to do, means what you will say, you should do it, correct? You must do it. All those forms are there. Should, must and all are pointing out that somebody has to do, mandating something, correct? You can do means it's different. You do also is not the same, correct? You should do is different from just you do. If you want somebody to definitely do something, then what you say, you should do it, you must do it, etc. We say that. Like that in Sanskritam, there is a ling verbal form is there, or lot also is there. Ling, lot. And then there is a tavya is there. Tavya is actually the verb itself becomes a noun and then you add a tavya. Anyway. So none of that is there here. Vidhi atra na asti. There is no vidhi. There is no word which is mandating something. Correct? Simply it is a statement of fact. You are that. That's all is there. Therefore, whatever these three things are negated. Is that clear? Of the four options, three options are out already. Now, Guru is taking up the fourth option. Correct? What is the fourth option? Fourth way of interpreting the student mentioned was that Brahman has really become Jiva. Of course, it's ridiculous, but anyway, he takes it up in all seriousness to refute it. So what does he say? Satayeva hi nama jagat prakritehe upa prakrite rupa upadhana vashadiha jiva iti atayeva na jiva satatva katam prakritasya satah pratipadayati. So satayeva hi nama jagat prakritehe upadhana vashat. So this sadvastu, correct? You go back to the 6th chapter of Chandogya. There, Sadeva Somya Idamagre Asit Ekameva Advitiyam, like that it starts. Correct? That is called Sadvidya. The 6th chapter of Chandogya is called Sadvidya, where the Sadvastu is presented as Jagat Karanam. It alone was there before this differentiated world came into existence or manifested. Everything was there in an unmanifest form as the Sadvastu alone. This Sadvastu alone visualized then. It identified with all knowledge. Tadaikshata, like that. It saw, then everything came. Everything, all the differentiated creation started manifesting. Whatever was unmanifest became manifest as this world of variegated objects. So it is the Jagat Karanam. It is the Upadhana. That's why it means it's the material cause. We normally say, correct, Abhinna Nimitta Upadana Karanam. Because Tad Aikshata means it is a conscious entity, means it is intelligent cause. And also it doesn't have to borrow any material and all that. It itself became all these things, means it is in it only all these things are appearing. So Jagat Prakritehe Upadana Vashadiha Jiva iti. Since it is the Upadana Karana, Okay, it is the cause of everything. Then it says, this anena jivena anupravishya. So the Brahman alone entered into the Srishti as the Jiva. Since the Sadvastu itself is the Upadana Karana, it is called as Jiva also. It gets the name Jiva because Jiva is a sentient entity in the creation. So the Brahman itself is manifest as Jiva because there is no other consciousness. There is only one consciousness. In fact, this is also supported by certain statements in the Brihadaranyaka also it is there. If you have attended the Brihadaranyaka class, you will know what is that. That there is Nanyad Atosti, Drashta, all these statements are there. Brahman alone is the Drashta always. In whichever body somebody says, I know, I see, etc., that is all only because of Brahman, correct? There is no other seer other than Brahman. Nanyad Atosti Drashta, Nanyad Atosti Shrota, Nanyad Atosti Manta. Like this, all these Vakyas are there in the Upanishad. Therefore, this Brahman has got this name Jiva. It is an individual self, also is same Brahman only. Therefore, what? Since it is presented as Jagat Karanam, it is not really become Jiva. Brahman gets the name Jiva, or Brahman is known as Jiva in the Vyavahara, or individual self and all that, because this consciousness manifests in a particular Upadhi, correct? This body, mind, sense complex, the consciousness manifests or it is conditioned. Like even we say space is there. Then we also say part space. Now part space is a name, space only gets the name part space also, correct? Space gets the name part space. That doesn't mean that space has now really become a part space, limited and suffering or anything like that, correct? Space is indivisible. Space is subtle. Space is all pervading. That being the case, how can it really become a part space? Is it clear what I am saying? In fact, part is in space. Space is not in part. But our ignorance is that we call part space, as though space is confined by the part. Part itself is in space, correct? But we have Vyavahara like part space. And we even say this part has 5-liter space. That part has 10-liter space and all that, which is fine. Like that, here Brahman gets the name Jiva because that is the only sentient entity and it appears. It manifests itself in the mind because mind is subtle. Like even the part space manifests within the part. You can say Brahman is manifesting within this Deha and it is called Jiva then. But in reality, it is not that Brahman itself has become Jiva, you cannot say. Correct? Because it is Jagat Karanam, it is still Jagat Karanam, correct? It has not really modified. It is not like milk has become curd. Let us say milk has become curd. Milk has really become curd, correct? There is no more milk anymore. That is called Parinami Upadana. But here, Brahman is still Brahman alone. Without losing its nature only, it has taken this name and form. Names and forms do not alter the reality of Brahman being Brahman. Correct? It is Brahman alone. It has not really become Jiva, losing its Brahmatvam. That cannot be the case. That's why in the Sadvidya itself, the analogy is given. Correct? Mrittika ityeva satyam. Or gold alone is real. Gold can become any jewelry, but it is still gold. That's why you can go to the pawn broker or you can go to some bank, regardless of the name and form. The banker is a jnani. Why? Banker sees only gold. He only cares about the weight of your jewelry, and he will also care about purity, obviously. So based on that, he is a gold jnani, because he doesn't see any name and form. He only sees the substance. Then he will weigh the gold. All the name and form he puts together. He doesn't care, correct? For you, there is some emotional attachment and all that. This chain was given by my grandmother. All that. The banker doesn't care. He puts everything together, weighs it, and gives you money. Like that, Brahman is Brahman. Being Brahman alone, it is appearing as this world. Correct? Purnamadaha Purnamidam. Brahman was complete, Purna, as Sadvastu, when that nothing was manifest. But when everything is manifest as Idam, this, then also it is the same Purnam. It is infinite. It is complete, limitless. Okay, then you remove this Purnam from that Purnam. That Purnam was there without anything. This Purnam is there with all the manifest objects and all that. But you remove everything, then also it remains as Purnam only. Correct? Nothing has changed. Gold was gold. Then gold became jewelry. You remove the jewelry from the gold means what? Gold is still gold only, correct? Same gold is there. Even as jewelry, same gold is there. Then you remove all the jewelry from the gold. You put it into some furnace, melt it, make into some other form, ingot or whatever. Even then it is gold. Like that, here, this Brahman cannot really become Jiva. Okay. So, Atayeva na Jiva Satatva Katam, he says. Satatva Katam means what? Really, Brahman has become Jiva, like milk has become curd. It is not like that. Okay. So, na Jiva Satatva Katam Prakritasya Sataha Pratipadayati. So, when the Tattvamasi is said, correct? You cannot take that Brahman has become Jiva. That's not the point here, because it is still presented as Jagat Karanam only. It never loses its status of being Jagat Karanam. Even while being Jagat Karanam Brahma only, it is known as Jiva because it is available in the Srishti as I, correct? Wherever you say I, this Brahman alone is there, really speaking. So this is not how it is. It is to be interpreted. In fact, he goes further and explains that. In the next verse, we'll see that. Yedi jiva satatva katam gamayed animadi gunasya jagat prakritehe animadi gunoktika katasya mrisha. Okay, animadi gunokti katasya mrisha yedi vasya sharira bridatmakata. So, yedi jiva satatva katam gamayed, if, let us take, okay, your contention, if it is really saying that Brahman has become really Jiva, then what? Then what? Animadi gunasya jagat prakritehe cannot be there, he says. Okay, gamayet. Then what? Animadi gunasya jagat prakritehe. Otherwise, animadi gunokti kata asya mrisha yadi. So, if you say this Jivan, this Brahman, which was the Jagat Karanam, Jagat Prakritehe, Animadi Gunasya, Jiva Satatva Katam Yadi, means this Brahman has this quality of now Jiva, or it has become Jiva. What was the Jagat Karanam, which was referred to as Animadi Gunasya? See, why this Animadi Gunasya is mentioned here, if you go back to the 6th chapter of Chandogya, correct? What is the preceding Vakya for this Tattvamasi? For example, 687 is where the Tattvamasi comes first and it is repeated again and again. And what is that 687? You can go and refer in Chandogya. How does it start? It says, Sayeshaha Anima Aitadatmyam Idam Sarvam Tat Satyam Sa Atma Tattvamasi Shweta Keto. Like that only the teaching is there, correct? Saya Yeshaha Anima, like that is there. So Anima means what Bhashyakara says, Anubhutaha Jagataha Moolam, like that only he writes the Bhashya for that. So Anima there is what? It is the essence of everything, you can say. Means it is the cause, it is the material cause. That's what is meant by Anima. Jagataha Moolam means it is material cause. So this material cause, whatever is there, which is in fact being the material cause only, it is the self of all, it says, correct? Aitad Atmyam, like that, the Tadita word is used there. Aitad Atmyam means what? Etad Atma Tasya Bhavaha, correct? Aitad Atmyam means it has the nature of being the self of all. Self of allness, you can say in English, correct? In English, if you have to say Aitad Atmyam means self of allness. This Brahman which has the nature of self of allness of everything, in fact, Aitadatmyam idam sarvam. Idam, whatever is idam sarvam, whatever is this, correct? All this has the nature of this self, or this Brahman has the all selfness of all this, and that Brahman tat tvamasi, correct? So even in the Tattvamasi Vakya, the preceding words, what are they conveying? That Brahman is, which is the self of all, which is the Jagat Karanam. Being the Jagat Karanam, it is the self of all, and that alone is you. That is the teaching, correct? That means Brahman is still the self of all. It has not lost that nature. Without losing its nature only, it is appearing as Jiva. Therefore, we have the teaching that Brahman alone is you, which is still the Jagat Karanam, which is still the self of all. That same Brahman alone is you. That is the teaching. Now, if you say, no, that Brahman has really become this Jiva, means what? Then what? Animadi Gunoktitat. Animadi Gunoktikata. Means what? Whatever this Brahman was said as, which has Animadi Guna, means what? Which is the Jagat Karanam, Jagat Moolam, correct? Which is the Upadana Karana of this entire world. Ukti Kata means whatever was said, like that. Ukti. Ukti means said. So whatever the Shruti has said, that this Brahman is having this Animadi Guna, means which is the Jagat Karanam of this entire world, that will become Mrisha, that will become false. Or if you say the other way around, Yadi va asya sharira bridatmakata. Okay. Either it can be only this Jagat Karanam Brahma, or it can be really only this Jiva, correct? There are only two options. In reality, Brahman is still Brahman, it is appearing as Jiva, or it has become Jiva, means it is only Jiva. It cannot be still the Jagat Karanam. So milk has really become curd, means it is curd only, correct? There is no milk there. So you cannot say milk also is there, curd also is there. No. Or in English we say you cannot have your cake and eat it too. If you have eaten it, means it has already gone into your stomach. You can still have it here on your body in different places. The fat will still appear, correct? The cake is all only sugar and fat. It will go inside your body and then appear somewhere in your body, but it is not in the same form. You cannot have the cake as cake. It is there now as your belly, in your abdomen and all, it has settled. It is no more as cake. So you cannot have your cake and eat it too. That's what now here Totakaacharya is saying. Either it is still Brahman or it has really become Jiva. It cannot be both. Correct? Therefore, in fact, we have to say it is only Brahman. That's what he is trying to point out. The teaching also is very clear, correct? It starts with that only. So it is still the anima and it is aitadatmyam. It is the self of all. That Brahman is you means this Jiva only is Mrisha. Brahman is not really the individual self. And the one more reason also he gives for that. Correct? What is that? We will see that. Iha samsriti hetu nirakaranam kritamasya sharira bhritobhimatam parameshwaramatmataya bhruvata vachanena cha tattvamasityamuna. So, iha samsriti hetu nirakaranam kritam asya sharira bhritaha abhimatam means if we take the teaching as tattvamasi pointing out to the identity of Jiva and Brahman, then alone the teaching also becomes meaningful, correct? Or useful. What is the point in saying Brahman has really become the samsari? Then it's not going to do you any favor, correct? You are still samsari. Already your problem is that I am a samsari is the problem. Why did you even come to study Vedanta? Because you say, aham shochami, like Narada went to Sanat Kumara. And what did he say? I know all these different things. I know all the four Vedas. I know Rasa Vidya. So many Vidya he lists. Correct? All disciplines of knowledge I know. Then what? Still what? Aham Shochami. Even after gaining all this Apara Vidya, correct? The Mundaka also differentiate between Para Vidya and Apara Vidya. No, just memorizing the Veda also is Apara Vidya only. Or even studying the meaning of the Karma Kanda and all is Apara Vidya. Knowing how to do Vaidika Karma, Apara Vidya. Or even studying Upanishad not as a mumukshu is also Apara Vidya only. Shabda Rashi itself will not give you anything. Understand that. You can memorize Taittiriya Upanishad. Everybody chants Taittiriya Upanishad. If you go to any temple, mostly when we take the deity for a procession and all, we chant Taittiriya Upanishad. That doesn't mean they get the knowledge. Unless the knowledge which takes place alone is Paravidya, unless that is there, what is the thing? Aham Shochami. You may know everything, but still I am suffering. I am in sorrow. That is your problem, correct? The fundamental problem is I am subjected to sorrow. Everybody wants to be happy. That is the main Purushartha. And what kind of happiness means? Unconditionally happy. What is unconditional happy means? So let me ask you one question. Okay. Okay. Do you want to be happy in the morning or evening? Means what will you say? You will not say no. Morning alone is enough. Evening I can be sad means no. You say no. I want to be happy both morning and evening. Okay. You want to be happy in your home or at office? No. I want to be happy at home also. I want to be happy at office also. That means what? Space time, beyond space time, you want to be happy, correct? Space wise also, you don't want happiness to go away. Wherever you are in space, you want to be happy. Whatever may be the time, you want to be happy. So what do you want? You want unconditional happiness, which is not bound by space time itself. Now, will you get that by saying Brahman has become Jiva? Tell me now. Does it make any sense? By saying, no, Brahman only is really suffering as Jiva. So you accept your suffering and be happy. Can you be like that? In fact, there is a philosophy like that also, correct? Some name is there, existentialism or something. Means what does it say? You are limited. World is hostile. You are whatever you are. Then do whatever best you can, you do here. Okay. Somewhat like our Charvaka philosophy or theory is there. Correct? There is a darshana also in our traditional Bharatiya darshana. Okay, Indian darshana, we can leave it as darshana only. We don't even have to translate it as philosophy and all that. We have a system of knowledge, you can say. Darshana means, or a drishti. It is a standpoint or a viewpoint. Okay, one of the thing is what Charuvaka we say. Charu means what? Sweet. It is sweet, sweet words, but very deceiving. What is so sweet? It says, don't worry about anything. Okay, there is nothing, only this world, this body alone is the reality. Once this body is gone, everything is gone. Correct? So he says, Bhasmi bhutasya dehasya punaragamanam kutaha. Once the body is dead and it is buried or it is burnt, how can it come back? It's not going, nothing can come back. There is no other self other than the body. Okay. Therefore, what? Rinam kritva gritam pibe. Take loan and have ghee. Means what? You have nice sweets and all that made up of ghee. Enjoy life. Consume whatever you can consume and enjoy. Life is there to be enjoyed as much as possible. It is like existentialism, they say nowadays. There is a philosophy, I think. What is that? It is like this. You accept your limitation and do whatever you can, the best. One way of looking at it. But the problem is we are not able to accept my limitation. All the time we are instinctively struggling. Any limitation I see in myself, any want I see in myself, correct? Want is nothing but some kind of limitation only. I want to get rid of that want. As long as I am a wanting person, I can never be happy. That is my instinct. So that itself is pointing to something. If it is really my nature, then I should be happy as a wanting person, correct? But as soon as I look at myself as wanting, I have no happiness. In fact, I want to get rid of that want. Therefore, wanting person and happiness cannot be there together. But I want to be happy unconditionally. I want to be always happy. I want to be happy everywhere, correct? Everywhere and always. I want to be happy, unconditionally happy. How am I going to get it? Means you can only get it if you are Brahman. You are already the limitless. You do not lack anything. You are complete. You are full. Purnaha. You are the self of all. You are not limited by space-time, nor any objects. You are the source of all happiness. Only by knowing this, you can really get happiness, correct? Unconditional happiness. Everything else is conditional, correct? Or even if you gain it, it will not last. Whatever you may gain within the srishti, it is in space-time, it will be lost in space-time, correct? You cannot transcend space-time. Therefore, iha samsriti hetu nirakaranam. So the very cause of this samsara, correct? Samsriti is nothing but samsara only. Same thing, different form. Samsriti hetu is what? Ajnanam. Ignorance alone is the cause of your samsara. All your suffering, correct? Samyak sarati iti samsara. You go from one thing to another. In English, we translate as a life of becoming. Samsara means what? Or samsriti is a life of becoming. Because you want to always become something. Why? Because you are not able to accept whatever you are already. So you want to become something else. And it is an unending, it is a vicious cycle, correct? Never ending thing. You always want to become something. So here, the cause of that is what? Taking oneself as a limited being, ignorance. That nirakaranam, the negation of that has to be done. Then only the purushartha, your purushartha is fulfilled, correct? So iha kritam asya sharira britaha abhimatam parameshwaram atmataya bruvata vachanena cha tattvamasi iti amuna. So only if the sharira brit, the individual self is said as Parameshwara, correct? As the Jagat Karanam. That is the equation, in fact, correct? The equation is individual self is Parameshwara. Jagat Karanam. But how can I be? That means you have to discover the identity, correct? Like any equation, in any equation, the important thing is what? Apparently it will be different. Otherwise, you don't require an equation. 1 equal to 1 is not an equation. Understand that. Apparently something has to be different on the left hand side and right hand side. Then you have to arrive at the identity. So anyway here, so the Sharira Brit and Parameshwara, the Parameshwara is said as the Atma of the Sharira Brit, correct? Is the self of the individual, the embodied individual, you can say. The embodied individual, the self is nothing but Parameshwara. Only a Vakya like that, Bruvata Vachanena, the Vakya which has been said in that manner, which is Tattvamasi, correct? By this alone, this Samsriti Hetu Nirakaranam Kritam, by this alone, the cause of your samsara will be negated, correct? By a Vakya, if you take the meaning of Tattvamasi in this manner alone, by understanding the identity of Jagat Karanam Brahma and the embodied individual self, then alone this cause of samsara will go away. Otherwise, the teaching is useless, in fact. Correct? And now again he proves this in a different manner, like taking how the words in the sentence relate to each other. It's more of a grammatical approach. First approach, this approach is very clear, correct? From a meaningfulness, also, Tattvamasi has to be that Jiva is Brahman. And from a different standpoint, he takes up now 77 to few more verses, 4-5 verses are there that we'll see next week onwards. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.